Hello everyone. Okay, for this video we're going to talk about variables, but more specifically we're going to apply variables for counting laps and things like that in games. Variables can be used for a lot of different things. You can use them for passwords, you can use them for a count variable. Perhaps you would like to just count and have a timer going. You could do that, which Scratch does have a timer program as well built into it, but you could make your own with a variable. Variables are intended to save information for you. They allow you a way to save something, and you name what that is, and then it will save that in the variable. And then you can change it, you can edit it, you can add to it, things like that. So variables are right down here, and they give you your own variable to start out with called my variable. I prefer just to make my own. So we're going to click on the make a variable, and in this particular case, because we're going to count how many laps a vehicle goes around the track. We're going to call this a race or a scoreboard, something like that. So actually we'll click on make a variable, and let's call it lap counter. Now in this case, we're going to just do for all sprites because I only have one sprite on here. If I had multiple sprites, I could apply it to this sprite only. Totally up to you how you want to apply it. I prefer just for all sprites when I only have the one sprite on there, but if it's multiple sprites, perhaps just that sprite would be the way to go. That way you don't accidentally create a lap counter for the wrong character. So what you would basically do is just in each character you'd have to go in and make a variable called a lap counter and then a save for the sprite only. Okay, so I'm going to do for all sprites and say OK. Now what happens with that is if you see there's a checkbox right here next to my lap counter, and that just displays like the laps that are being counted. I could turn that off just by clicking on that, and you don't have to worry about that. But we're going to leave it on so we can kind of keep track and count those laps for you. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with this. What we're going to do is we're going to say on the green flag, we're going to drag a green flag out. We're going to grab a forever, because what we're going to do is we're going to check each time to see if it touches this red line, which is our lap counter. Okay, so we're going to go to sensing, and we're going to drag out this color here, and then purple obviously is not red, so we're going to click on this, click on the eyedropper, and select the red color. So now when it touches that red, it's going to do something. Well, back in variables here, what we want to do is we want to change the lap counter by 1. Another thing that we should probably do just overall for our program is we should set the lap counter to 0 at the very beginning. So when we hit the green flag, it'll reset this back to 0. Okay? So now the way our program should run is when we hit the green flag, it'll be sitting here checking. And if my character touches the red, it's going to go up. But the computer does think at a really fast rate. And so this, if I touch this, will actually go very, very quickly in numbers. And that's obviously, you know, we're not in the hundreds of thousands of laps at this point. So one easy thing you can do, and let me turn this off, is to add a wait here after it changes that. Okay, so I can just go here to control, add this on here, and it will add a second, maybe add 2 seconds. So what will happen now, it'll count a lap, wait 2 seconds, it'll go back through my loop. If it's still touching the red, it'll count it again, and so on. So if I drag the car over here now, if I hit the green flag, and I drag the car over here, now it'll do 1, wait a couple seconds, count again, wait a couple seconds, count again, and so on. And so it will count the laps. Now that could be the end, and that's all you want to do for a race game is just count how many laps you're making around the track, and that is perfectly fine. However, another thing you could do to this is set a win total. Let's say you want to have 5 laps, and when they reach 5 laps, we want to say, congratulations, you win. So that's a little bit different set of code that you're going to need. You could add it onto this. I personally prefer to add a green flag and have another counter going. So we're going to drag out, again, a forever, because we want it to continually check to see if we've won. And we're going to add an if as well. Now we're going to go to operators, and we're going to add in one of these operators. Now we could do equal. Equal is a little difficult to do with programming with the laps, because just by chance, if you don't hit that number, or if it goes too quickly for whatever reason and you miss it, it could go up and up and up and up and up and actually miss it. And so it could do more than 5 laps if that's what you wanted to do. What we're going to do, though, is say if blank is greater than, we don't want to do 50, let's do 4, because that will actually give us our 5. And now you see this circle, this is kind of a blank in here. What we're going to do is go over to variables, and you'll notice that this is the same shape. I mean, it's a little bit different shape, but you get the idea. It fits in here. So if you drag this over, slot that in, it'll now count, and it'll say if the lap counter, if this number is greater than 4, which if you're looking for 5, then we would want it to say something. So we could go to looks, and we could just have it say, and let's drag this, make this a little smaller. We could say congratulations or congrats. You win. Okay? And so now we have these two things going on. We have one that's going to have our laps counted, the other that's going to check and see when we reach a win total for this. So let's go ahead and hit the green flag. That's not counting yet, right? Because we're not touching the red. But you know, if you can imagine, the car goes around this, touches the red, waits 2 seconds, counts that lap, and counts again. Okay, 4. Now when it's greater than that, greater than 4, it's going to say congrats, you win. And that's essentially how you do this. Okay, and so now it will continue. Now it's still going to sit here and count. What we could do is add a stop on this if we wanted to. But that's essentially how you're going to set up a race if you wanted to do that, or have it count laps for any sort of game. So hopefully that helps you with setting up a race and counting laps for that. It's a pretty awesome tool to use for like different games and things like that. So hopefully that helps. Good luck with your Scratch endeavors.